we are always the outsider.
Full Force 2022. I'm here with Jake from Health. Hello, Jake. How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm very tired. I'll be honest.
Jet lagged?
Jet lag. I've just been in a stretch of the tour that's been very intense. Like really good shows, but we've been kind of flying every day.
Oh, okay.
So even if the flight's only 2 hours, it's like gear at the airport 3-4 hours early. I was in Bulgaria this morning.
All right. Did you have time to check out the area from Full Force?
A little bit. Got here not that long ago because we landed in Berlin and had to drive to the festival grounds.
Yeah.
And then we just went to our stage to make sure everything's okay. I've been to this festival site before, though, but for a different festival.
For the Mel Festival, right?
Yeah.
All right.
In another life.
In another life, in another genre, exactly.
Well, we were always kind of odd man out at those sort of hipster festivals.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a very different sort of lineup.
So a good transition to the next question, actually. You did your tour with Sleep Token as a support for Sleep Token last year for the Europe dates, and I guess you got plenty of new fans, or at least a new audience for yourself. Did you notice any difference from your older fans to the newer one?
I think that definitely there's a big difference in heavy music fans, I think, but one through line is that they're very much, like there are popular bands, and this, like Sleep Token is a great example that have just kind of exploded in popularity.
Yeah.
But I think one of the great things about heavy music is that fans are typically, once they're kind of in it for life. Yeah. It's a lifestyle, whereas zeitgeist music is very much like, you know, you kind of have to stay hip, you end up having to change. The same way that trends in clothing and food are always like very malleable and they're moving all the time.
Yeah.
And most fans of heavy music are just like, no, I like this music. This defines who I am, and I'm going to stay that. I might be open to new bands, but I'm not going to pretend that I didn't like this music. And that happens a lot with, you know, it's like some guy who's been living in Brooklyn forever who's like, I was a free noise guy, and then I became a house DJ, and now I make techno on like modular synth, you know, just whatever it is to. And that's not to say that people aren't interested in those things, but I think that that's one of the great virtues of the sort of rock genre is people, once they're in it for life.
So I know you guys are actually very big metal fans. You did a couple of interviews about metal music, metal bands you are looking up to and stuff. So would you say festivals like these, where you are more like the outsider of it, is still a strength of you that you play these festivals?
I don't know. You know, we are always the outsider. It doesn't matter if we were playing like Primavera Festival or we're playing at Grass Pop. Yeah. Because we weren't an indie band.
Yeah.
But we're also not a metal band. Yeah. But I think that this is the first time we've ever done metal festivals in Europe. Yeah. We did Hellfest once in 2022, and then we did the Sleep Token run, and all these festivals have been really good for us. I don't know how today will go, but I'm optimistic. Yeah. And I think that part of that really speaks to when you were asking about Sleep Token fans, this sort of new wave of modern metalcore, which is like kids who grew up on Bring Me the Horizon, and bands that are very open to electronic production and pop structures and melodic hooks. Yeah, it kind of breaks down like a lot of barriers, and it's really connected to a lot of young people. So you don't necessarily have the same, you know, like take for example a band I love is Slayer. Yeah. But it's like legendary how bad it is to open for Slayer. Yeah. Because there's fans they scream at you, get off the stage, we want Slayer. Yeah. And that's understandable. But it's also hard when you're trying to like get a foothold in that world. And I think now there's so many more young, like the biggest thing, the takeaway I would say of doing those Sleep Token tours is like, it's youth. It's not, it's not like an older fan base. It's a very young fan base. Yes. And I think that that's very exciting to see in a genre that even 5-6 years ago was struggling to identify, like, are we going to ever have new headliners at festivals? Yeah, exactly. You know? Yeah. And now there definitely are going to be. Yeah. So
you released your last album, Red Wars, late last year, I guess in December?
December, yeah.
December, yeah. I'm personally a big fan of Red Alert 2. And I looked at the video for Godlike, and it was amazing. Was there something like you said that was an inspiration for the whole sound of the record, like the soundtrack of Red Alert?
No, I think that it fit that song.
Okay.
And that was sort of like an afterthought, a bit of. We really used to love to make music videos.
Yeah.
It's like an odd crossroads right now because the way people digest information on the internet is not set up for long form music videos. So we're not trying to be cynical about it, but we're also kind of like, oh, this works with this Red Alert footage. Like, you know, like we could just cut something together rather than, especially now, like labels and people allocating like a lot of money for a music video, and it's like people aren't watching. But you'd almost be better off doing a podcast that has reach where people want to hear about the music rather than watch a music video.
So I watched the video on your social medias, and your social medias are wild. Let me just summarize it by that. I mean, it's mostly John's area of doing, I think.
I don't want to do that shit.
Yeah, but what I really found funny was that video about Hummel. He wrote that down on the writer, and they actually provided it for you guys. And you were just like, that's not even cheese. What's with Hummel? You have to summarize it, please.
We have a kind of like.
Oh, you also had the bag of sugar. I remember that as well.
Oh, that was just, there was a bag of sugar there was a gigantic bag of sugar in the backstage, so I just sort of improvised that.
Oh, okay. But it wasn't even on the writer.
No, it was just
okay,
the Hormel thing is just, you guys will like this. In Europe, if we put charcuterie, selection of meats and cheeses on the writer, it's like, it's quite delicious.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Europe has if you put that on the rider in the United States, sometimes people go to the store and they're like, charcuterie, what? So we get this horrible prepackaged Hormel thing is like not even edible.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen most of the time, but after like the third time, we kind of made that joke. And it's like, I think sometimes on tour, we're trying to find a way to, obviously our music is very serious.
Yeah.
But I think that there's something to be said for the fact that like, you used to be able to be, and some bands can maintain this, like Sleep Token, where it's like they don't do interviews, nobody knows what they look like, but it's kind of hard to swallow when bands are now, with the way social media is so insidiously entwined in our lives, to try to be like, I'm mysterious. It's like, kind of, but you also have an Instagram where you post about like what fucking you ate for lunch. I don't know how much, you know, it's like, how do you have Jim Morrison now if you're like, he's like, oh, these cupcakes are really good on his fucking TikTok. Exactly. It doesn't work the same way.
Yeah.
So we kind of try to just embrace that. Yeah. So, and aside from shows or partying, touring is like pretty boring. So sometimes it's fun to spice it up with like, let's make something about this. And we travel when we can. We travel with a photographer, videographer who's a really good friend of ours, and he understands our sense of humor really well.
Okay. So while you're talking about the seriousness of your music and actually, in contrary, your social media appearance for the band, do you think that's something that maybe takes off a little bit? Like you have a serious song, but the social media is so quirky and funny that some people would like say, no, I don't know if I want to engage with the band if it's...
It's like possible. I'm sure I can't conjecture as to what is happening in people's minds. I'm sure. I'm sure like more old school industrial fans maybe could have that reaction. But the one thing that I think about with that is that we've always made an effort to be modern, whether or not it's how we approach making a record, producing it, the sounds we want to use, like that's going to be taking from hip hop production, electronic music production, like not being precious about like some sort of old process. And I think that like when you're depressed, you tend to listen to sad music. That's what you resonate with. It's not like, oh, let me put on Stevie Wonder songs in the key of life because I'm bummed out and I need to like pep myself up. But when we're lost and like feeling lonely or like really low, the internet content we tend to ingest is fucking ridiculous, stupid, quick, funny, quirky things. And I think that that's an interesting phenomenon. And I think that our band is sort of like a microcosm of that. It's like the music and the lyrics are deadly serious and they're communicating in earnest.
Yeah.
But having this other side to it, what we realize is that it's not mutually exclusive of our fans.
Yeah.
For a little while, we thought like, okay, we have fans that like anime and memes and video games, and then we have fans with like severe depression and anxiety and mental health issues, and they're resonating with the lyrical and imagery and the musical content. And we were wrong about that.
Yeah.
They're all the same people.
Yeah.
The same people that like the anime meme or some ridiculous thing like the Hormel thing are also the ones that are communicating to us like, hey, this record like really helped me.
Yeah.
They're not separate. And I think that that can be a mistake that we can project sometimes that bands do. They're like, it's like, yeah, but I gotta stay cool and edgy and dark. And I would love to be able to do that, but I don't think that it would be the most genuine projection of ourselves. Yeah. Because we're both. People are very dualistic.
Okay. Last question, maybe. You're doing you did the support for Sleep Token. You're doing now the festival tours, some club shows around this festival tour, the summer tour. Do you guys have any desire to come back to Europe or in Germany for a headliner tour, club shows and stuff?
We're going to be back in October. We have 4 German shows. So we're doing Berlin, Leipzig, Munich, and Cologne.
Great.
In late October.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. We love Germany. We've always had a good time here.
I hope Germany loves you too.
It always has. I don't know if this festival will like us or not. We'll see.
We will see.
Yeah,
all right.
We shall see.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a great show tonight at the festival.
Thank you for having me.
Festival, and great rest of the tour.
Okay, thank you.
Cool.